Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be finishing up the body work on the Durango Hellcat, and she's really starting to take shape. For a long time she looked like a skeleton of a Durango, but now she's looking more and more like a Durango Hellcat every single video. So in the last video I got all the body work finished on the driver's side, and now I'm going to be focusing on the roof skin and the passenger side quarter panel. And really all I need to do on the roof skin is hit it with some 180 grit on the DA, scuff everything so it's a nice matte finish, and the same thing goes for the passenger side. But on the passenger side, I have to do all the door frames, put some icing on them, and also the window frame just to smooth everything out. And once everything is scuffed in a matte finish in 180 and 80 grit, we will have her ready for high build primer. So I'm really excited to see this car in striker green, but I have made a decision on the roof skin. So I was planning on painting the roof skin a gloss black, but I have decided to just paint the roof skin striker green, keep the mirror caps gloss black, and if I don't end up liking the roof skin in striker green, I will just wrap it in, you know, a gloss black or a carbon fiber, or I have contemplated wrapping the whole Durango after I paint it in like a theme, but I'm not exactly sure and I don't really want to worry about that right now. So let's get to work on this and get her all sanded and all matte and ready for high build. body is completely sanded and ready to go. So I am finally ready to spray this with some high build primer, which it's a little too cold to do it today. So I will be spraying it tomorrow. It's supposed to be, I think, like almost 60 tomorrow, which today it's 40. I'm gonna spray it outside because it's just high build primer. It really doesn't matter. But yeah, tomorrow if it's 60, it'll be great. Spray it outside, we'll be ready to go. One thing I must tell you guys is this prep is a lot of work. So if I was just repainting this the same color and I didn't have to jam it, there would be a lot less prep because I wouldn't have to scuff all of these nooks and crannies in here. Everything in here is just really tedious. I probably have like 2 days in scuffing and sanding all of this. So what I ended up doing was I sanded everything in 180 grit, but anywhere where it's bare metal is either 36 or 40 grit, and then the edges are all feathered with 180, and then everything is then gone back over and scuffed with red Scotch-Brite. I think red Scotch-Brite is like technically the same equivalent to 700 grit, and it just is really nice to do that because then you know that everything is scuffed and you want a nice dull finish. If it's not dull and there's still a little bit of shine to it and you don't see any scratches or anything like that, if it's still shiny, it's not sanded correctly. So everybody has seen the videos where somebody's pressure washing their car and a huge chunk comes off of it. That's because of bad preparation. So just make sure to sand everything and feather the edges out, because if you don't feather the edges out, it's just kind of a pain. So it's just nice when you high build it, and then I'm gonna 180 grit the whole thing again. Then I'll re-high build it, and then I will 320 it. Once it's in 320, we could seal it, paint it, and clear it. So one other thing that I did notice when I was sanding it is this thing is really tall. I am 6'8", and my arm reach, my arm span isn't gonna be far enough to get the center of the roof cleared. So I'm gonna go with my original idea, which was to paint the roof separate from the quarter panels, which will make it a lot nicer, because then I won't have to worry about my paint suit, which my paint suit's gonna stick out a little bit further, and they're kind of airy. They just kind of, I don't know, it's like wearing baggy clothes. So I don't want to have to be trying to reach over the roof, but then you can already see how close I am. So I don't want to have to worry about that, because there's going to be clear on the quarter panel then. And if I touch it, then I'd be back to square one, sanding all these nooks and crannies again, which takes a very long time. So now that this is all done and all sanded and prepped and ready to go, what I'm going to do is really quick, I'm going to wipe everything down with just a rag with water, just to make sure there isn't any shiny spots. There shouldn't be, but there's always that chance. I mean, it's a lot of surface area to be sanding. There's always a chance that you miss it. And I'd rather find it today than when I want to prime it tomorrow. So let's get that done and get all this ready to go, because I can't wait to see her in one color again. The primer is going to pretty much look like the color of the Durango that it was before. So it's going to look like it's fixed. But yeah, let's get this thing all wiped down. She is now 100% wiped down and ready to go. Ready for high build primer. I didn't see any shiny spots. And if I would have seen some shiny spots, you just get some red Scotch-Brite, which I think is technically 700 grit. And you just scuff it. It's like 700 or 600 grit, something like that. You just scuff it, you're ready to go. But the Durango is now ready for high build primer. And I'm really, really excited because it has been a while since I've bought this thing. So I have been working on a bunch of other projects. The Charger subframes, and a bunch of other stuff, the GTO, the Grand Prix, some other stuff like that. Just waiting for parts. And now that we have everything, it's just kind of moving forward finally. So I'm very, very happy to see this thing in high build primer, but we'll do that tomorrow because I still have to mask everything off, and I'll get here early, do that. And when it's warm enough, we'll drive her outside, spray her really quick, and I'll probably do 2 coats of high build, which is, it's going to be pretty thick, but it'll be really nice because I'll hit it with 180. It should knock down, you know, everything. I'm just trying to fill in all of those, pretty much all the 40 grit sanding scratches right now. And then we'll hit it with 180. That'll level everything out. And then after that, we'll be sanding in 320 once we high build it one more time. And that will knock down all of those 180 grit sand scratches. So it'll give it a little bit of time to shrink, which will be nice. And it's supposed to be warmer the next 4 days, I think, which I should be able to get it high build tomorrow, leave it outside. It should have some good time to kind of get nice and warm and shrink a little bit. Once that happens, I could sand it, and then the next day I should be able to prime it one more time and do the same exact thing. Let it sit outside. It should allow it to shrink because it's going to be, I think it's going to be like around 60 or higher. So that'll be really nice. But I am just so happy to finally, this is such a cool car. I bought this thing with the intentions of pulling all the drivetrain out of it to put in the Charger, which I still might do, but I have some Swift lowering springs coming from Black Ops Auto Works, which are supposed to ride a lot nicer than the factory springs. So we'll see how those ride once I get them, because I'm going to put those springs on all the adjustable arms that I have over there and get the alignment. But she's ready to go. So I'm going to end the video here. If you like these videos, make sure to click that subscribe button, throw a thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.